Things are heating up behind the scenes with the Los Angeles Rams. I want to share some analysis with you about everything that's been happening. And honestly, my heart has been restless these past few days. You know there's a huge sense of anticipation surrounding the Rams right now. Aaron Donald's return. It feels like our dream is closer than ever. I'll tell you more about that in just a moment, along with everything I've found out. Before we continue, make sure you've already hit the like button, but only do it if you really want to see Aaron Donald wearing a Rams jersey again. If you believe we're going to the Super Bowl with him, smash that like button. If possible, leave a comment saying, "Go Rams, nothing will stop us." Looking at the timeline of events, it's easy to see why so many fans are feeling optimistic. First, there was all the excitement surrounding the Rams' major signings to strengthen the roster. After that, attention gradually shifted toward Aaron Donald. At first, it seemed like nothing more than a few subtle hints here and there. But little by little, those hints became much harder to ignore. One of the biggest details is that Aaron Donald has started training for football again. That's significant because this isn't just someone trying to stay in shape. Based on everything we've seen, he specifically wanted to put the football gear back on to see how his body and mind would respond after stepping away from the game. That's a completely different situation from a casual workout at the gym. Putting the football gear back on sends a much stronger message than simply lifting weights or exercising. Then came the images of him training in full football gear at the Rams facilities. As soon as that information came out, the conversation exploded even more. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know the same thing. Is this really happening? Is Aaron Donald getting ready for something much bigger? As more news emerged, another interesting point came to light. It was mentioned that the biggest obstacle right now isn't necessarily the contract itself. Instead, the priority is whether Aaron Donald truly wants to come back. Once that decision is made, the financial side can be worked out afterward. The order of these events is very important because it suggests that football, not money, is the priority. Something else has made fans even more excited. People around the team have continued dropping little hints without directly saying anything. Current Rams stars have spoken positively whenever Aaron Donald's name comes up. There have been comments about old jerseys, past relationships, and mutual respect. None of that officially confirms anything, but it certainly adds to the growing feeling that something significant could be coming. When you combine every one of these moments together, the timeline starts becoming very interesting. First, there were football workouts, then public appearances connected to football, then discussions about how his body felt wearing pads again, then conversations about a possible contract. Step after step, everything appears to move forward instead of backward. That's why many fans no longer see this as random off-season speculation. Instead, they're watching actions, not simply listening to words. And as every football fan knows, actions usually carry much more weight than interviews or rumors. Another reason optimism continues growing is because Aaron Donald has never built his reputation around creating unnecessary drama. Throughout his career, he has generally stayed away from attention-seeking behavior. That's exactly why many supporters believe these recent developments deserve to be taken seriously. If someone who normally stays quiet suddenly begins taking football-related steps again, people naturally begin wondering whether there's much more happening behind the scenes. There has also been discussion about what kind of contract could eventually happen if everything comes together. The belief surrounding these conversations is that, should he return, any agreement would likely focus on one season rather than a long-term commitment. The emphasis would reportedly be on incentives instead of simply guaranteeing a massive payday. Whether that ultimately happens remains to be seen, but many believe that approach would fit the situation. Another key part of the discussion centers around timing. Training camp is approaching, and if someone truly intends to play meaningful football again, waiting until the middle of the season simply wouldn't make much sense. Returning to football requires preparation, conditioning, learning the daily routine again, and working alongside teammates from the very beginning. That's why many people believe that if Aaron Donald returns, it would happen before training camp really gets underway rather than months later. There's another date that has generated enormous excitement among Rams fans. The organization has announced a special live event where new uniforms will be unveiled alongside appearances by several major players. Beyond the uniforms themselves, there is also mention of a special surprise announcement. Naturally, that immediately sparked widespread speculation. Many supporters have connected all the dots together. Football workouts, wearing pads, contract discussions, excitement from people around the team, a major Rams event featuring a surprise announcement. For many fans, all those pieces seem to point toward one possible outcome. Of course, until anything officially happens, nothing is guaranteed. That's an important point. Excitement is understandable, but confirmation only comes when the organization or Aaron Donald himself makes an official announcement. Still, it's easy to understand why anticipation has reached such incredible levels among Rams supporters. What's fascinating about this entire situation is how much attention Aaron Donald continues to receive despite stepping away from football. Very few players remain at the center of NFL conversations after retirement. Yet somehow, Aaron Donald continues dominating headlines throughout the offseason. That alone says everything about the respect he commands across the league. If he were to return, expectations would naturally be enormous. Nobody realistically expects any player to instantly erase time away from the game. But many still believe Aaron Donald possesses elite talent capable of making a tremendous impact. Even if he isn't exactly the same player fans remember from previous seasons, the belief is that he would still immediately become one of the NFL's most dangerous defensive players. Imagine what that could mean for this Rams defense. The possibility of adding someone with Aaron Donald's experience, leadership, football intelligence, and playmaking ability would change how opposing offenses prepare every single week. Offensive coordinators would once again need to account for him on nearly every snap, creating opportunities for everyone else around him. That's another reason Rams fans continue talking about this nonstop. It isn't simply nostalgia. It's about what his presence could mean for the current roster. Great defensive players don't just collect sacks themselves. They often elevate everyone lining up beside them by forcing offenses into impossible decisions. The excitement surrounding the Rams doesn't stop there either. Many fans believe this organization has consistently shown an aggressive commitment to competing for championships instead of entering rebuilding phases. Time after time, the front office has demonstrated a willingness to make bold moves when opportunities present themselves. That mindset has become part of the Rams' identity, and supporters appreciate seeing a franchise that continues pushing forward instead of accepting mediocrity. Every offseason brings uncertainty throughout the NFL, but this one feels especially unique for Los Angeles. Between roster additions, renewed optimism, and everything surrounding Aaron Donald, there is genuine belief that something special could be developing before the regular season even begins. Still, patience remains important. Football fans know better than anyone that situations can change quickly. Until official announcements arrive, everything remains speculation based on the information currently available. That's why every new report continues attracting enormous attention, because each one may provide another piece of the puzzle. No matter what ultimately happens, one thing is already obvious. Aaron Donald's name still carries incredible weight inside the Rams community. Fans remain deeply invested because of everything he accomplished wearing that uniform, and naturally, they would love nothing more than seeing him back on the field one more time. Now, I want to hear from you. After everything that's happened, after looking at the entire timeline, after seeing the workouts, the reports, the growing excitement surrounding the Rams, and the anticipation building toward the upcoming announcement, what do you honestly believe? Do you think Aaron Donald is truly preparing for an incredible return to Los Angeles, or do you think everyone is simply connecting dots that aren't really there? Leave your opinion in the comments because I genuinely want to know what Rams Nation thinks. And if you're as excited as I am to see what happens next, stay tuned because the next few days could end up being some of the most unforgettable days of this entire offseason. Go Rams! Now, I want to talk about this. While so much attention has been focused on everything happening around the Rams this offseason, it's also worth looking at the players who could take their game to an entirely different level in 2026. The reality is that Los Angeles already has one of the most dangerous offenses in the NFL, led by Matthew Stafford, a quarterback who continues to prove why he's among the league's very best. But even with an elite quarterback and one of football's smartest offensive systems, championships are won when playmakers step forward at the right time. The first player who has every opportunity to exceed expectations once again is Puka Nacua. It's incredible to think that, despite everything he's already accomplished, there's still a strong argument that his best football hasn't arrived yet. Last season, he consistently delivered against some of the toughest defenses in the NFL, showing that he isn't simply a product of Sean McVay's system, but a true difference maker who can take over games. Now, entering the 2026 season, many already consider him one of the league's elite receivers. But this could be the year he stops being just one of the best and firmly establishes himself as the very best. With Davante Adams another year older and the Rams continuing to evolve how they use their tight ends, Nacua is expected to remain the centerpiece of the passing attack. That means even more opportunities to produce explosive plays and become the focal point of what could be one of the NFL's most dangerous offenses. Another name that deserves plenty of attention is Trost. His path to meaningful playing time looks much clearer than many people realize. The Rams' situation along the offensive line creates a genuine opportunity for him to step into a much larger role. Questions surrounding Alaric Jackson's availability, combined with injuries that affected Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson last season, could open the door for Trost sooner rather than later. Considering how impressive he was during his college career, along with his experience, maturity, and physical tools, many believe he's capable of making the jump to the NFL without needing an extended adjustment period. The Rams have also built an outstanding reputation for developing offensive linemen, making this an ideal environment for a young player with his potential to grow quickly and become an important piece of the offense.